e tō mātou I te raki, kia tapu tō e koa, kia tai mai tō uraka tira taka, kia miatia te pai ai ki huka ki te whenua, kia rite anō ki tō te raki hō mai kia mātou ai anei, he taro mō mātou mō tēnei rā murua o mātou hara. Me mātou hoki e munu nei I o te hunga hara ana kia mātou, au hoki mātou e kāwea kia whakawaia. Engari, whakarongia mātou I te kino no hoki te raka tira taha, te kaha me te kororia, ake, āmene.
Ko tēnei te rūru, te kaukau mai nei, ki hai mā hititi, ki hai mā rakaraka tūpoka nui o te rūru, te reko. He pō, hei au, kā watea, ti hei wā mauri ora. Kia papa tūna koe takoto nei, ko raki nui e tiho nei, nei te mihi atu kia kōrua. Kia rātou mā, ko taki e tāranui o tāne, tēnei rā, tēnei wiki, tēnei marama, tēnei tau, moi mai rā o ki o ki mai. Haere mātou, wari tia e rātou, ko taki e tērā ara. Kei tuatu o te ara ai, moi mai, tiraha, whakatā. Rātou kia rātou, tātou kia tātou, no reira tēnā koutou. Ki ngā kauni hera hou, nau mai, hara mai ki tēnei tepu. Ko tēnei tepu, hei kōrero, hei toha, te piki me te heke, te amu rānei, ko tēnei te tepu, e puta mai te kōrero, mō wai, mō tātou katoa, mō wai, mō te whenua, me te tai au hoki, no reira kia kaha, kia maia, kia mana nui, mō tērā mahi, kei mūia mātou mō ngā tau e toru ki te heki mai nei. Ki ngā whānau, I hara mai tēnei rā, hei tautoko e nei, kai kauni hera, nei ana te mihi kia koutou. Kia koutou, I tai, mo te mihi whakatau, no mātou te whiwhi, I hara mai, hei tautoko I a mātou, mō tērā mahi no reira tēnā koutou. Kia Ngāti Moki, Kati Mako, nei te mihi. Nei te mihi kia koutou, mo te māngai, mo ngā kai kauni hera, mai, te waiau toa, tai atu ki te waitaki, ki uta ki tai, no reira, nei te mihi atu kia koutou I hara mai tēnei rā, I tautoko tēnei kauni hera, mo ngā tau e toro neira tēnā koutou, a tēnā tata katoa. Councillors, it's my privilege to stand here to do the first mihi. And to our 7 new councillors, it's a pleasure to have you here, to be at this table for the next 3 years, for our debating, for our friendship, and some not so pleasantry conversations that we do have to have. There will be ups and downs, but together we can find our pathway forward. Kia kaha, kia mai, ka mana nui, be strong, be steadfast, show great heart, not only for this table, not only for this organisation, but also for all of Waitaha Canterbury. Also to the whānau, friends and family who came today to support the councillors, thank you for coming. And just acknowledging Taumatu and Wairewa whānau who came in today in numbers to support not only myself and Megan, but also all the councillors around the table. I greet you once, I greet you twice, thrice welcome, no reira tēnā koutou, a tēnā tata katoa, ko hoaitu te rākau, kia koe e te mārei kura, Stephanie, tēnā koe.
Ngā mihi, kia ora tātou. I'm Dr. Stephanie Ricksecker. I'm the Chief Executive for the Canterbury Regional Council, and it's my privilege to chair this meeting until you have duly elected a chairperson for the council. This is, and welcome to, our council's 603rd meeting. And I've been informed there is a quorum present, and I'm pleased to declare that the meeting is open. I note there are no apologies. Are there any conflicts of interest? There being none, I'll move on. Is there any extraordinary or urgent business that I'm unaware of? There being none, that takes us then to our report items, councillors. And the very first report item, of course, is item 5.1, which begins on page 5 of your agenda. And in that, you will note the official results from the election. So therefore, can I congratulate you all on being duly elected as councillors to the Canterbury Regional Council. Well done. We are therefore now going to be able to do one of the things that is absolutely important for you to be able to be vested as councillors, and that is for you to take your oath to Waitaha Canterbury. You'll be invited to come forward, and as you do, you can stand to take your oath. You can take your oath in English, Te Reo Māori, or New Zealand Sign Language. You'll be called on in turn. It's very easy. I'll be doing it in alphabetical order, so you'll know when you come next. And once you have taken your oath, you can sit and sign the oath itself. There are 2 copies of the oath, one for you to take home to remember what you have sworn, and the other for us to retain. And then we'll pose together for a photo. So there are 16 of you, and we'll make this absolutely delightful for each and every one of you. So what we'll do is we'll go first through the recognition of Councillor Ashley Campbell. Can I please ask you to come forward? Would you like to make a declaration in English? English. Ask you to basically speak that. Okay. Just to the end there.
I, Ashley Jane Campbell, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interests of the Canterbury region the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Canterbury Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act.
Very good. Can I ask you to sit down and sign? I will do the same. There are 2 copies, so you can take that one as well. We'll stand up and I'll shake your hand. Congratulations, Councillor.
Thank you.
Very good. Councillor Yayan Cranwell. Or English, or both.
I'll do both, but I'll only sign the Te Reo Māori one. Just like my ancestors did.
Te Reo, English.
Te whakapua, timata anō. Te whakapua ki taka a ia kaunihira. Kua hau, Yayan John Cranwell. E oti ana ka whai a hau I te pono me te tōkeke I ruka hoki I te mutuka ke mai nei o aku pukeka. O aku whakatau hoki kia whakatūtuki, kia mahi anō hoki I te mana whakahaere, te mana whakatau, me ka momo mahi kua uhia ki ruka I a hau. Kia whiwhi paika mo te takiwā o te kaunihera tai au ki Waitaha. Hei kaunihera o te kaunihera tai au ki Waitaha. E ai hoki ki te ture kāwanataka a rohe 2002. Ki te ture kāwanataka a rohe whakapai me te hui 1987. Me etahi atu ture anō hoki. Ka huri au ki te reo tuarua. Just so everyone can understand actually what I'm saying and believe what I've just said. I, Yayan John Cranwell, declare that I faithfully and impartially and accordingly to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform and the best interests of the Canterbury region. The powers, authorities, and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Canterbury Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act. Kia ora.
Just ask you to sign whichever two. Did you want to do them in Te Reo, yeah? Thank you, Councillor. Can I count on Councillor Joe Davies, please?
I, Joseph Thomas Davies, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform, in the best interests of the Canterbury region, the powers, authorities, and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Canterbury Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act.
There's your pen there. You sign both of those. You sign that one too, Joe. May I call up Councillor Andrea Davis? Oh, English. Very good. So this is the declaration from the I to the A.
Thank you. I, Andrea Hamilton Davis, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interest of the Canterbury region the powers, the authorities, and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Canterbury Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, and any other act.
Good. You take the pen and you sign both of those, and I'll sign next to you. Congratulations, Councillor. Well done. Well done. I call on Councillor John Faulkner. Presuming this will be English?
English, thank you, Stephanie.
Just from I to the act.
I, John Lewis Faulkner, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interest of the Canterbury region the powers, authorities, and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Canterbury Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act.
Sign both copies, and then I will countersign those, Joe. Congratulations, Councillor. Can I call on Councillor Sarah Gerard, please? It's from the I to the A.
I, Sarah Frances Gerard, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interests of Canterbury Region the powers, authorities, and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Canterbury Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act.
If you sign both copies, Councillor, please. Councillor, congratulations. You're very welcome. May I call up Councillor Nettles Lamont, please? From the I to the Act.
I, Nettles Alexia Lamont, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interests of the Canterbury region the powers, authorities, and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Canterbury Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act.
Good. You just sign each of the two copies. You sign the second one as well. Thank you. Congratulations, Councillor. Well done. Well done. Councillor Ian Mackenzie. Hello. In English, I imagine.
Yeah, I was
Or were you going to do Te Reo as well?
I was thinking of doing it, but I'll do it in English.
Okay. You've done this before. From the I to the Act.
I, Roderick Ian Charles Mackenzie, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Canterbury region the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Canterbury Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act.
Very good. You sign each of the copies, Ian. And the second one, yes, thank you. Good. Councillor, congratulations.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Councillor Claire Mackay. English? Very good. You've done this before, Councillor. From the I to the Act. Thank you very much.
I, Claire Elizabeth Mackay, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Canterbury region the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Canterbury Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act.
You take the pen and sign each of the copies, Councillor. Can't even sign on the line. Congratulations. Councillor Megan Mackay.
Ko ahau, Megan Nairi Leslie Mackay, e o ati ana ka whai ahau, e te pono me te tōkiki, I runga hoki e te mutunga ke mai nei o aku pukinga, o aku whakatau hoki kia whakatūtuki, kia mahi anō hoki e te mana whakahaere, te mana whakatau me ngā mōmō mahi kua uhia ki runga I ai au kia whiwhi painga mō te takiwā o te kaunihira taiao ki Waitaha. Hei kai kaunihira o te kaunihira taiao ki te Waitaha. I ai hoki ki te turi Kawanatanga Arohi 2002, ki te turi Kawanatanga Arohi Whakapai me te hui 1987, me ētahi turu anō rānei.
Take the pen and sign each of those copies. I've got 2 copies. There should be 2 copies. Great. Councillor Nick Moody.
I, Nicholas James Moody, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interests of the Canterbury region the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Canterbury Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meeting Act 1987 or any other act.
Good. Just sign each of those copies, Councillor. Councillor Genevieve Robinson. We've done this before. From the eye to the air. Thank you.
I, Genevieve Ann Robinson, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interests of the Canterbury region the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Canterbury Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act.
Sign each copy, Councillor.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Peter Scott.
I think I'll do English.
English it is.
I don't
done this
feel
before.
I don't feel comfortable. Yeah. So I, Peter Joseph Scott, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Canterbury region the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Canterbury Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act.
Take the pen and sign both of those copies, please, Councillor.
We'll go this way.
You can shake your hand.
Cheers.
Councillor John Sunkel. From the I to the A.
I, John Edward Sunkel, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of the Canterbury region the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Canterbury Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meeting Act 1987, or any other act.
Could you sign both copies, please, Councillor? Congratulations, John.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Councillor Dion Swiggs.
I'll do it right this time.
Thank you.
English.
We've done this before.
Yes.
From the I to the A.
I, Dion William Swiggs, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform, in the best interests of Canterbury region, the powers, authorities, and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Canterbury Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act.
Very good. Could you sign both copies, please, Councillor? Last but certainly not least, Councillor Nick Ward. English, yeah. From the I to the A.
I, Nicholas George Ward, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interest of the Canterbury region the powers, the authorities and the duties invested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Canterbury Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meeting Act 1987, or any other act.
Sign both copies, please, Councillor.
Sorry.
That's all right. Thank you.
you.
Thank you, councillors. You've all taken your oath. You are now formally sworn in, and you can partake in your duties. Can I ask the Chamber to please congratulate these amazing members? We'll carry on here. Right, councillors, we will get on with the business of the meeting. As you well know, we then go to the next item, which is 5.3, which is on your page 10 of the agenda pack. And this is the election of the chair and the deputy chair. And you will recognise that you will also need to select your voting method at this point. I'll ask Lisa Goodman, our General Manager for Governance, alongside Robin Fitchett, who's our General Counsel, to introduce the report and speak to it. And if there are questions of clarification, you can ask those questions once they've spoken to the report. So I'll hand over to both of you. Lisa, Robin?
Tēnā koutou. The report in front of you today is just to outline the procedure for electing both the chair and deputy chair of council. And I just wanted to alert you to a minor change in the staff recommendations, an updated change. We'll just have that up on the screen in a moment. Round and so on. In any round of voting, if two or more candidates tie for the lowest number of votes, then the person to be excluded from the next round will be selected by lot. Okay, so we have a container here in the room with every name of every councillor in there. Under voting system B, which is different, the candidate will be elected if he or she receives more votes than any other candidate. So there's only one round of voting, and if two or more candidates tie for the most votes, once again, the tie is resolved by lot. And just one word about System A and System B. If Council did want to guarantee that the Chair and Deputy Chair receive the votes of the majority of you here today, you should look at adopting voting System A, and that is election by majority. Finally, so the Chief Executive will run through the mechanics of voting when nominations are received, and you have a summary of those mechanics in front of you as well. It's quite a detailed procedure there. After a chairperson is elected, they will take their declaration of office and then take the chair for the rest of the meeting. Are there any questions?
I'd like to move 1.1 voting system A, please.
Thank you, Councillor. I'll just hold off on the moving, just making sure there are no questions of clarification. Very good, thank you. I'll just ask you to step away. Thank you very much, Councillor. Voting system A has been put forward by Councillor Davies.
Second that.
Seconded by Councillor Cranwell. Thank you. Very good. Based on that, is there any discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favour, please say aye. Any against? That's carried. Thank you very much. We will be using voting system A. Councillors, I'm just noting that we have a slight sound problem when we put the resolutions up, and so we're just juggling that. Okay, very good. All right. Yep. So I will take us then to the next resolution, which is on the screen and before you, councillors, that under voting system A, we need to agree that in the event of a tie under voting system A, the candidate to be excluded from the next round of voting shall be resolved by lot, as described in paragraph 6 of the report in front of you, and that was published. This recommendation effectively confirms that approach, and what I'll be looking for is a mover of this resolution. Thank you, Councillor Claire Mackay, a seconder being Councillor Dion Swiggs. Is there any discussion? There being none, councillors, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour say yea. All those against, nay. It's carried. Thank you very much. On that basis, we will carry on to the election of the chair. As we'll be using voting system A, we'll proceed to that. And I'll be seeking nominations from the floor. In the context of nominations, I would ask that in the interest of the efficient conduct of business today, that the nominators do not speak, but that nominees will have the opportunity to speak. And I will go through that at the time. Are there nominations from the floor for the chair? Councillor Sunkel.
Madam Chair, it gives me great pleasure to nominate Dion Swiggs for the role of Chair of Environment Canterbury, the Canterbury Regional Council.
Thank you, Councillor Sunkel. We have the nomination. Do I have a seconder?
It gives me pleasure to second the nomination of Dion William Swiggs.
Thank you very much, Councillor Mackenzie. Councillor Mackenzie seconds the nomination of Councillor Swiggs. Thank you very much. Are there any other nominations for chair? There being no other nominations, you are elected unanimously, Councillor Swiggs, as the chair of the Canterbury Regional Council. My congratulations. Page 11, aren't we? Yeah. Councillors, I need to put forward the declaration, which is electing Councillor Swiggs as the chairperson of the Canterbury Regional Council. And then we will go to the chair taking his oath, and then I will hand the meeting over to you, Chair, to manage from here. So, all those, I don't actually need to take that, we just take it as the declaration, don't we? Yeah, so just as the declaration, we note that that Councillor Dion Swiggs has been elected as the chairperson of the Canterbury Regional Council. Councillor Swiggs, can I ask you to please come forward and take your oath?
I, Dion William Swiggs, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interests of the Canterbury region the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as Chairperson of the Canterbury Regional Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information Act and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act.
The seat is yours.
Oh, yes. I just need to write my name actually into the piece of paper. Thank you, team. We're just getting the lay of the land. I firstly just want to say thank you very much to everybody for the great honour and privilege, and I will serve you well. I'll bring this table together, and I look forward to getting on with the work. We have a lot of work ahead of us, and it is my honour again. So thank you so much for having the confidence in me. So we will move straight into the election of the Deputy Chair. The Council has already resolved to use voting system A for this election. So I'll go straight into calling for nominations. Councillor Robinson.
I'd like to nominate Yane Cranwell for.
Do you want to say that again? Somebody cut you off.
I would like to nominate Yane Cranwell for deputy.
Do I have a seconder?
I'd like to second the nomination of Jan as Deputy Chair for the Regional Council.
Councillor Ian McKenzie, second. Are there any other nominations? Councillor Ward.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Claire Mackay.
Is there any seconders for Councillor Claire Mackay?
I will second.
Johns. Any further nominations?
I would also like to exercise my right to speak to that nomination, please.
I'll come back to that, Genevieve. Any other nominations for Deputy Chairperson?
I'd like to nominate Nettles Lamont.
Has Nettles Lamont got a seconder?
I second that.
Any further nominations for Deputy Chairperson? Okay. We'll move into the, we'll just deal with what Councillor Robinson has asked. If Councillor Robinson is to do that, we'll need to be fair with the other nominators who would like to speak. But I would like us, in the interest of time, if you can keep them brief. So how do we do this in terms of the order?
I will select a random name.
Okay, so we'll select a random name for the
the first person to speak is Yayan Cranwell.
So what we'll do is we'll ask the mover to say a few words, and then the nominated person will say a few words, and then we'll move on to the next person. So, Councillor Robinson.
The great tragedy of liberal societies is when the society achieves privilege for the few and leaves the many behind. We must be vigilant because when equality becomes a slogan rather than a lived reality, when fairness becomes a gesture rather than an action, then our institutions crumble and injustice emerges again. So let us insist that fairness means everyone, not just the majority, not just the powerful, and not just the easily included. The words of my famous Stephen Fry. Tēnā koutou katoa. Stephen Fry's words challenge us to look honestly at the difference between what we say about fairness and what we do to uphold it. They ask us to examine who is protected by our systems and who is still waiting to be included in them. For generations, Ngāi Tahu have carried the weight of kaitiakitanga across this region, the rivers, the harbours and the plains and the mountains that define us. Yet for much of that history, decisions about those very places were made without Ngāi Tahu at the table. That imbalance has shaped not only who benefits, but who also bears the cost, environmentally, culturally and socially. Nominating Yayan Cranwell is about restoring justice and just restoring balance. It's about making fairness a lived reality rather than a simple gesture. It recognises that enduring stewardship of place cannot exist without the enduring presence of mana whenua at our table. And it ensures that the values of kaitiakitanga and community care are not simply spoken about, they are embodied in our leadership. Some may question whether such a nomination challenges convention. But if we limit leadership to only those who come from the comfortable majority, we betray the very principle of fairness and we claim that we keep claiming to defend. True partnership does not stop at the table, it must extend to the helm. Because leadership is not ownership of power, it is stewardship of trust. It is about listening and guiding and serving all people with integrity grounded in place. In that sense, Yayan Cranwell exemplifies what fair and inclusive leadership looks like. He is not a man of slogans, but of substance. A leader whose words are steady, whose manner humble, and whose vision is intergenerational. He leads through whakapapa and through respect, through a deep understanding that the well-being of our rivers and of our people are inseparable. When Yayan speaks, he reminds us that partnership is not a concession, it is a constitutional promise, that fairness is not a comfort, it is a duty and a responsibility, and that governance must not only represent the public, it must honour the public in all of its diversity. If fairness is to mean anything, it must mean that every voice has potential to lead, not only to advise. That Māori and Pakeha leadership stand side by side, not in tokenism, but in trust. Stephen Fry warned that when fairness becomes a gesture, rather than an action, institutions do crumble. So let us not allow that to be said of us. Let this council be remembered for acting with courage, for making equity real and partnership extremely visible. Tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Kia ora. Thanks. I'll ask Yayan to make some words.
Ora waire wai, taku pane ki uta, aku wai ki tai, taku kaika ki o tā wiri e tau nei. Tēnei a mako tēnei eire ke hukātara wewihi o waire wai, hao nui. Ko te upoko tahumata, te mauka ko kanataua, ko wairewa te roto, ka kātiri kehu kati mako, ka hapu, ko waitaha kāti māmo I kaitahu ka iwi. Ko iei koe mau toki kua, he te taha toko hākui, no wairewa, no kaikaura maanga maunu. Te taha toko hākoro, no wera, ko tērā te pūtake e toku nei kua, ko iei and koe mau toki kua. The reason why I stand here today to put my hand up as Deputy Chair is what is on the wall behind me. It is the 2-year journey. I've been part of that 2-year journey from its inception, either from the outside looking in or from the table for the last 9 years. This will be my 4th term, sitting around this table along with my fellow Councillors Mackay, Scott and Sucknell, nei te mea te kia koutou. 3 as a councillor, 1 as a tumutai. I am passionate about the environment, be there at gathering kai, be it paddling on the awa, on the ocean, on the moana, putting kai on the table at our marae, from the Clarence, the Waiatoa, down to the Waitaki, and from the mountains to the sea. We must be able to gather kai, healthy kai, from our environment, from our rivers, from our oceans, not only for this generation, for the generations to come. And that is why I am here. I am concerned about the health of our water and our waterways. And I will do everything possible to not only work around this table, in my community, hapore, iwi, hapu, rural, urban, to make sure that we can achieve that. In my roles here at Te Kaunera Taioki Waitaha, I have been in leadership roles. I've been co-chair with the Catchment Committee with Councillor Mackenzie. I was the chair of the Water and Land Committee and also the deputy chair of the regional delivery with Councillor Ward. I've also governance experience not only here at this council, but also in commercial entities, community organisations, and also board chair of a secondary school, being Shirley Boys High School, Ngā Tama o Orua Pairua. So I believe that I can work with Dion. I believe that my leadership that I have shown in my 4 terms around this table, that in collaboration and working side by side with Dion, that we can continue our 2-year journey and make sure that our relationships with mana whenua, ngā mātā waka, and our communities can continue. As our Chief Executive said previously out at the Mihi Whakatau, that we all have to come together as a whānau. Not only here on the table, but also with staff. We have to come together to find the best way forward. As we know, we have some unprecedented reforms coming down from central government that hasn't been seen in a long time. We need to be ready as a council table and as a region. The local government reform is inevitable. Our opportunity is to shape it, not fear it. Change is coming regardless of who ended up as chair. Congratulations, Dion. With Dion as chair, my focus is to be steady, informed leader that positions Canterbury to make reform work for us, not to us. To me, it's not the form, but the function. Not only for our staff, but our hapore communities and for our Waitaha Canterbury. The RMA reform is already in motion and Canterbury must be ready to lead through it, not wait for it. Reforms will shape how we plan, manage and protect our environment. Our job is to make sure Canterbury interests, values and voice are front and centre in that process. Leadership, my focus is the region as a whole. I was selected by Ngaito, but my duty is to every community in Canterbury, for our cities to our rural and coastal areas. I'll lead the whole region, grounded in fairness and long-term outcomes. My experience is shown on this table. After 4 terms around the table, I understand our people, our systems, and what works. My focus now is on shaping future-ready, trusted regional council, one that delivers real outcomes for Waitaha, for mana whenua, for us around the table. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, a tēnā tātou katoa. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Jan. Thank you so much. And thank you very much, Councillor Robinson. So next up we have Nettles Lamont. So I will ask if the nominator wants to say, okay, so Councillor Lamont, over to you.
Kia ora koutou. To be a voice. We have walked this planet for thousands of years, and I'm sad to say it, at the expense of offending everyone with a beating heart in this room. We are slow learners as a species. We bicker, we argue, we fight. We are so sure that the only one perspective, only one frame of reference, only one position is right. We remain steadfast in our frame of reference, for it was whence we came. For what are we? We are rural, we are urban, we are Pākehā, we are Māori. We are young and passionate, full of possibility, and we are also a little older, moulded by the slings and arrows of time and circumstance that brings consideration. Oh, and we are women and men. I want to thank each and every one of my colleagues for having the bravery and wherewithal to stand and represent your communities. It is not easy. The value, the kaupapa each and every one of you bring is important. It represents democracy. You are all here because you care. You care about people, you care about representing our communities, and you care about our planet. Our environment is at the core of all of our being. All of us, in our own way, know the value. The key as we move forward is to call on the strength and bravery and take it a step further and move forward together. Find our sameness. Find those glimpses of gold, the alchemy of alignment, for only in that will we make progress. As we step forward together, the real bravery will be in working together with a growth mindset, not closed. Our collective strength will come as we show a little individual vulnerability and willingness to find progress together. Get that right, and we will be a force to be reckoned with. Central government is looking at us and wanting us to do better. We have not bathed ourselves in glory before. Let's draw a line under that and move forward. Not with gay abandon, but with consideration, bringing our communities with us. Be responsible fiscally as we look after our water, our land, our air, and our people that work the land to provide food. Let's acknowledge the work being done by our environmental caretakers, by our communities, both urban and rural, to protect our land and our water. Let's continue working with science to be better. We are here but for the blink of an eye. We are guardians of our planet. Kaitiakitanga for our children, our tamariki, and our grandchildren, our moko. I want to serve this council, helping us align fearlessly, representing our region, having been part of those conversations that take us forward as the RMA changes rain down upon us. What does the future hold? I believe it is in our hands. We can make a positive difference working together and finally learning from the mistakes of thousands of years. Electing chair and deputy is akin to choosing mum and dad over the next 3 years. I don't want to wake bolt upright wishing I had been raised by wolves. It's a big decision. And we hope to get it right. We can debate and opine te tiriti and our environment until the cows come home. Excuse the pun. Let's move forward and make progress together for our communities and planet. Kia ora.
Thank you so much, Councillor Lamont. That was wonderful. Councillor Mackay. Who nominated Councillor Mackay? Councillor Ward, do you want to say a few words?
No, I don't.
Councillor Mackay.
Thank you very much. Kia ora. As you're aware, I'm a fourth-term councillor and I seek serious consideration for the Deputy Chair position. We all know the term of council will be particularly challenging. Significant RMA changes are on their way from central government and our opportunity to influence and advocate is likely to be short, but critical for the organisation and wider Canterbury. Signals suggest the role and functions of Canterbury Regional Council will be refined in time as a result of the changes. Local government and its structure across Canterbury may well look different in the future. This council requires leadership from this table to navigate not only the changes coming at us from above, but also to resolve the issues closer to home. Be that the consenting issues we have been grappling with, or balancing our social, cultural and economic desires with strong environmental protection. But critically, I believe the loss of trust in this organisation by many in Canterbury more recently, particularly rurally, is one of our most pressing issues to address. We must rebuild trust and respect if we are to supercharge our non-statutory environmental improvement work and maintain and build on all the good work collectives and community groups across Canterbury have done to date. I believe my leadership skills, depth of knowledge and experience can bridge science, innovation and practical farming. That has been the basis of both my professional and personal businesses. I value trust, transparency, collaborative processes, effective communication and strong relationships on the path to working together to solve issues. The Canterbury Water Management Strategy and the Zone Committee process was the ultimate training ground, and the way of working together via zone committees helped get disparate views aired and understood in the same room. It was challenging and uncomfortable at times, but generally we moved in the right direction. I am committed to providing strong leadership, reasoned decision-making by applying critical and strategic thinking skills and good governance, and I am ready to support the Chair 100%. We need leadership that brings the best out in each of us, not division that results from political point scoring. The right leadership will move us forward together, find common ground and the best solutions to resolve issues, and work with those who need to do the work, as it extends far beyond the walls of this room. I believe I can do that alongside our Chair, Chair Swiggs, and therefore I seek your vote. Thank you.
Councillors, thank you for your nominated speeches and also for your nomination speeches. As there is more than one nomination, we'll now conduct a vote using voting system A that we decided earlier. The candidate must receive a majority of votes from members present and voting. If no candidate receives a majority, the lowest polling candidate will be excluded and voting will continue. We will conduct the vote by division. The committee advisor will read out the names from a computer-generated random order, and each member will state the name of the candidate they are voting for. Please respond clearly with the name of your chosen candidate when called.
Councillor Ashley Campbell.
Ian Cranwell.
Councillor Genevieve Robinson.
Ian Cranwell.
Chair Swiggs.
Councillor Cromwell.
Councillor Claire Mackay.
Claire.
Councillor Andrea Davis.
Councillor Ian Cranwell.
Councillor Nick Moody.
Councillor Ian Cranwell.
Councillor Peter Scott.
Cranwell.
Councillor John Sunkel.
Ian Cranwell.
Oh, I did too. Councillor Ian Cranwell.
Iena.
Koau, Ian Cranwell. Kia ora.
Councillor Joe Davies.
Cranwell.
Councillor Sarah Gerard.
Councillor Cranwell.
Councillor Nettles Lamont.
Councillor Cranwell.
Councillor Ian McKenzie.
Councillor Cranwell.
Councillor John Faulkner.
Councillor Ian Cranwell.
Councillor Megan Mackay.
Councillor Ian Cranwell.
Lastly, Councillor Nick Ward.
Cranwell.
Thank you.
I now declare Councillor Ian Cranwell duly elected as Deputy Chair of the Canterbury Regional Council. So now I need to refer to recommendation 6 of your agenda item, which is 5.3. We'll just do the formality part of the deputy chair election. So I think it will come up on the screen. Yep. So we're electing Councillor Cranwell as the deputy chairperson of the Canterbury Regional Council. We don't need to vote on that. No, we've already done the vote, so that was just the formality part. So there's the so that was all we need to do there. Congratulations, Councillor Cranwell. Thank you, councillors. With the chair and deputy chair elections now concluded, we'll proceed to the remaining items on the agenda. These include a statutory obligation briefing, a confirmation of standing orders and meeting schedule for the coming term. These reports are an important part of setting the foundation for how we will work together this Triennium, and I encourage you to engage with them. Will be what we need to do.
Chair, could we just adjourn? Our deputy chairman seems to have flown the coop already.
Yeah, okay, I agree. Let's have a 5-minute adjournment and do our congratulations to everybody, and we'll come back at 1:15. Is that good?
Yeah.
Are we live? Awesome. No, he's coming. He's all right. So we're moving on to governance report item 5.4, which is 14 to 20 of your agendas. Recommendation is on page 14. Robert Fitchett, General Counsel, is coming to the table to introduce this report. Robin, I'll leave it over to you.
Tēnā koutou katoa, and thank you, Chair. In your agenda, you would have seen the report, which outlines the mandatory pieces of legislation on what you all must be briefed on today. I will take it that you have read that report and considered the contents, and I'll give you a summary of the key parts. I'll start by saying that this legislation is complex, and as you continue your term as councillors, you will become more familiar with certain aspects as you encounter the real-world application. The first act, which was included in your oaths, is the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act. It's often referred to by its acronym, LGOIMA. The key principle of LGOIMA is that of availability, and that information that is held by the Regional Council is to be publicly available to those who request it. This upholds transparency in local government. It's important to keep in mind when you're all communicating, be it in text, emails, or even speaking in your role as councillors, all that information is deemed to be public information. And the interpretation of the term held by council is very wide. The LGOIMA requires that council's meetings and those of its committees are to be open to the public, unless there's statutory reasons to exclude the public, such as preventing prejudice to the maintenance of law or the rights to a fair trial. These reasons may apply, for instance, to an enforcement matter that you may be briefed on, and that may end up before the courts. The other reasons are endangering the safety of any person, or if the matter concerns a right of appeal of any decision that concerns to any body that concerns a council decision. There are other reasons that are set out in the LGOIMA that are not absolute, and they must be weighed against the public interest in releasing the information. And then that decision must be documented. So it's important to keep in mind that the Act weighs in favour of release. We have a LGOIMA team here at Council, and they manage the requests for information. We also have an in-house legal team that I head up that advise on this process, and that ensures that these requests are handled in accordance with the legislation. There is a right of objection to the Ombudsman, who can review Council's decision-making with regard to requests that may result in information being withheld. The Lagoima also deals with something that we refer to as qualified privilege, and that covers written statements in the agendas before you, or any statements made orally at meetings or committee meetings. These are protected. For example, an individual can't take an action for defamation. That is, unless the statements are proven to be motivated by ill will. I'll move next to the Local Government Act 2002, and in particular, the Pecuniary Interest Register Amendment. This is where councillors are required to make an annual return declaring your pecuniary or monetary interests. Those declarations will be due in the new year on February the 26th, and will cover the previous calendar year. Members are personally responsible for fulfilling the Act's obligations and declaring your various interests, and failure is punishable by a fine up to $5,000. The LGA itself sets out the general powers of competence of the Council, its purpose and its operating principles. Councillors may be held accountable for personal losses incurred by Council in certain circumstances if you act against the provisions of the LGA. You will not be personally liable, however, where you can prove that the act or failure to act was without your knowledge, or with your knowledge but against your protest, or contrary to the manner on which you voted on an issue. Or if you acted in good faith based on the reports from the professional advisors to Council. Losses could be incurred in instances from money being unlawfully expended, or unlawfully selling or disposal of Council assets, or failing to enforce the collection of money that was duly owed to the Council. The next Act that I'll move to is the Local Authority Members' Interest Act of 1968, which is also referred to by its acronym LAMIA. LAMIA has two key roles that you must be aware of when exercising your powers and functions. The first is the contracting rule, where you must not contract with the Council for an annual amount that is greater than $25,000. And I believe the central government may be looking at increasing that figure because it's stayed the same, I think, since the enactment of the Act, unless you have an exemption from the Auditor General. And that prohibition also includes where you have an interest in a contract, such as via a spouse or a partner who may have an interest in a company supplying services to the Council. And the penalty for breaching the contracting rule includes loss of office and the possibility of a fine. The next rule under the LAMIA is the non-participation rule, whereby you must not vote or take part in a discussion if you have a direct or indirect financial interest. These should be declared at the start of the Council meeting, and you should sit back from the table and not vote. There are unique complexities associated with the LAMIA, and you'll see in the written report I've made reference to guidance published by the Office of the Auditor General. Please do read this, and if in doubt, seek advice from governance in the first instance. The report also touches on the Secret Commissions Act of 1910 that still applies to councillors and officers like myself of Council. It's unlawful to enter into a contract with a third person and receive a gift or reward from that person as a result of presenting false receipts to Council. That creates an offence under the Secret Commissions Act and a penalty of up to 7 years imprisonment or again triggering ouster from your office. You're also subject to the Crimes Act of 1961, and in particular sections 99, 105 and 105 capital A. Those provisions create offences for corruption and corrupt use of information. And the outcome here is also ouster from office or imprisonment of up to 7 years. That's for taking bribes or carrying out your powers, duties and functions. I'll also touch on the Financial Markets Conduct Act from 2013. Here, if the councillor is offering securities by debt or equity, then you as councillors could be personally liable with respect to the disclosures made in the disclosure statements issued to investors. Rest assured that significant advice, both financial and legal, would be provided to Council prior to making any such decisions that concerned that Act. The final piece of legislation, which is perhaps one of the most important, is the Health and Safety at Work Act 2015. This Act places a primary duty of care to council's workers, and as councillors, you are deemed to be officers under the HESWA. You must exercise your duty of due diligence, which requires taking reasonable steps in relation to continuously staying up to date with matters pertaining to health and safety via briefings and meetings with officers. Understand the work of the organisation and all of its breadth. I urge you to review our website and familiarise yourself with the core services and the work undertaken in certain aspects such as river protection, pest control and environmental monitoring. You have a duty to ensure that the council has processes to eliminate or minimise risks to the health and safety of the workers, processes to receive and consider and respond to incidents, hazards and risks, and processes to comply with duties and obligations under the HESWA. And you must also verify through reviews and audits. Whilst the legislation does place responsibility on councillors, it does not impose personal liability with respect to offences under that Act. But despite that, I do implore you to really consider your responsibility and ask questions to understand the work of the council, to make sure the due diligence that you're required to undertake is continued to be undertaken during your term. Thank you. That was a lot to cover.
There's definitely a lot in there. Is there any questions of clarification of Robert from any councillors? Councillor Mackenzie.
Well, really, it is to do with the health and safety, because in your paper you say that it's the equivalent to a company director, when it's not, because the company directors are actually responsible for the health and safety and can be prosecuted. And the second part is you say we cannot delegate the exercise of this duty, but effectively because the person that is responsible and can be held liable is our chief executive, we are effectively delegating some of that responsibility to our chief executive, and I think that's important to be understood.
I would just say that in response to that, yes, you are correct, but you do have that due diligence obligation, and that you do need to show that you have exercised that reasonably in the circumstances should something happen, and that is a very important duty in tandem with delegating certain authorities to your chief executive.
Councillor Robinson?
I was just going to move it.
Oh, let's just see if there's any other questions first.
Yeah.
No? Okay. Robin, thank you very much. You may now leave the table. I've got a mover in Councillor Robinson. Anyone who wants to second this? Councillor Lamont. Any discussion? All those in favour say aye. Any against? Carried. So we'll now move on to, is it 5.5? Yes, it is 5.5, standing orders. So page 21 to 123 of the agenda. This is with recommendations on page 21. Lisa Goodman, General Manager of Governance, will come to the table to introduce the report. Over to you, Lisa.
Thank you, Chair. This report is presenting the Council's current standing orders, which were adopted by the Council back in 13th December 24 and updated on the 16th of October 2025. What we're asking Council to do today is just to note the standing orders attached to this report. I wonder if we could have, we've just made one slight change to the staff recommendation, just to make it absolutely clear. We're asking you to note the standing orders updated on the 25th of September. You've got 16th of October 2025 in your agenda, and that's because some minor typos, spelling mistakes were fixed. But the last version that was updated and adopted by this council was the 25th of September 2024, and that's what you have on the cover. So just to clarify that. Standing orders outline the rules for the conduct of meetings of the council and its committees. Standing orders are required by legislation. And these standing orders attached to this report will remain in force until or unless this council decides to adopt any new standing orders. You may review or make any amendments to them during this term if you wish. But in that regard, I'd like to draw your attention to paragraph 11 of the report. Just to note that the government is preparing to introduce standardised standing orders for the whole of the local government sector. And so there is some work underway there. A bill has passed its first reading. A report is expected back from Select Committee in late November. And until we know the outcome of that process, staff suggest for the time being you retain the current standing orders, and you will have the opportunity to assess the outcome of the legislative process and decide whether you want to make any changes to the current standing orders or wait until a new standardised version applies to the whole of local government.
Thank you, Lisa. Is there any questions of clarification or any questions for Lisa? We can do that in the debate when we get to that. No questions? Any mover? Councillor Davies, any seconder? Councillor Faulkner. Any comments that anybody wants to make? Councillor Scott.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. There were two issues that we struggled with last Triennium. One was the standing orders in terms of getting those completely up to date, but the other one was the code of conduct. And my statement that I was going to make is that, Chair, I think you should get onto that and sort that out, because that's going to set the tenor for this council. And I know we were a wee bit sort of dysfunctional on how you could attend, whether you could be online. I think those things need cleaning up before we actually get into the business of this council. So that's my comment.
Thank you, Councillor Scott. Anyone else? Councillor Robinson.
Just a comment in regards to that. Have we not got the intention from government to have a standardised code of conduct as well?
Yes, I believe that's in the Systems Improvement Bill. So, yeah, we'll be the same with the standing orders. So we'll get onto that as soon as it's going to come out. Any other comments? Okay, all those in favour, please say aye. Any against? Carried. We'll move on to the fixing the date and the time of the first two council meetings. It's page 124 of your agenda. Lisa Goodman, General Manager of Governance, to introduce this report. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Today you are required to set the date of your first ordinary council meeting, and staff are proposing that that is Wednesday the 19th of November. And just for clarity's sake and to help with planning, we're suggesting you also adopt the date for the next ordinary council meeting, and we propose that is Wednesday the 10th of December.
Any questions of Lisa? I'm just wondering, is the Wednesday the 10th of December meeting, would that be the last council meeting for the year?
As currently planned.
Councillor Moody?
Thank you. Just a question around process. When's a good time that the council looks at which days of the week the council wants for council meetings moving forwards, and into the next year? Is that discussed perhaps at one of these upcoming meetings?
Yeah, okay. We're going to discuss those at the Wailangas and when we get together. Yeah.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Any other questions? May I have a mover? Councillor Ward, a seconder. Councillor Mackay. Any discussion? Thank you, Lisa. Councillor Robinson.
Just considering things are moving quite swiftly with regards to, government direction and the likes, is there an inability to have an earlier meeting if needed?
I will need to take advice on that.
Okay.
But if there's,
I
I imagine if things pop up, there'll be opportunities, and we'll get together. Yeah, we can.
Cool. Thanks.
Okay, all those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Any against? Carried. That leaves us to the final part of the meeting, which is the next meeting. As the meeting date has just been adopted, the first ordinary council meeting will be held on Wednesday, the 19th of November 2025. We will now close with our closing. Do we want to do a Mihi? No, just a Karakia.
He honore, he kororia ki te atua. He maunga rongo ki te whenua, he whakaaro pai ki ngā tangata katoa. Hanga e te atua, he ngākau hau. Ki roto, ki tēnā o mātou. Whakatongia tō wairua tapu. Hei awhena, hei tohu tohu a mātou. Hei ako, hoki i ngā mahi mō tēnei rā. Āmene.
Amen. Kia ora, thank you.